able to make time to view this webinar in particular. We're very excited about it. Our new time and billing is going to blow everybody's mind. You'll see that I'm not exaggerating as we begin the presentation. As always, I like to begin a presentation with a quick joke. I promise it's going to be brief. But I usually like to begin because I want to make sure we lighten up the atmosphere. And of course, this joke is going to be about time. So here it is. Even though my son could hardly tell time, he was about 3 years old and he was wearing a watch. And one morning when I was putting my jacket on to go to work, I looked at him and I said, "Honey, can you tell me what time it is?" Well, he obviously looked at me with a blank face, with a blank look in his eyes, and then he looked down at his watch and looked back up with a shiny face, and he said, "Mommy, it's time for you to go." So there you go, my joke of the day. I hope you enjoyed it.
We love your jokes, Patty.
I have to torture everyone with it. Comes with the territory.
It shows us another side of your personality.
So let's begin. Thanks, Adrienne. Let's go ahead and begin our agenda for today. We're going to talk a little bit about SWK, who we are as a company. We will go through a quick overview of the new time and billing, discuss who can benefit with the new time and billing. I'll talk about several pain points that many of our existing time and billing, timekeeper, and time and billing professional clients have been experiencing throughout the years. I call it time and time again because we are going to talk about briefly those old, antiquated time and billing solutions, and then we're going to jump straight into the presentation to show you exactly what this new time and billing brings to the table for you. Very exciting news, very exciting new features. I want you to know that a lot of these features have been suggested by our existing time and billing timekeeper audience. SWK uses the products internally, and we've made a lot of suggestions, our technicians, our consultants, etc. At the end, we're going to talk about when our next webinar is scheduled and the new features that will also be coming up on our new webinar, which is scheduled for April, but I'll give you more details at the end. I also want to briefly show you a little bit about the other SWK enhancements that we offer, and ultimately I'm going to leave the slide with our contact information. I want to make sure everyone is aware of who you can contact in regards to questions, comments, suggestions regarding the new time and billing enhancement. So let's begin. SWK. Who are we? Well, we're a Sage reseller that has been around since the late 80s. We're a Gold Certified Sage Development Partner, which basically permits us to use the Sage toolset to create several Sage 100 enhancements, including MAPADOC integrated EDI that most people already know us and have partnered with us in regards to MAPADOC. Our solutions have been in production for well over 16 years. We're very proud of that. We currently have over 1,000 installations of SWK enhancements, including extended solutions. We have well over 600 MAPADOC EDI implementations and a very capable and dedicated technical team supporting our customers and partners nationwide. By listening to you and understanding your unique business opportunities and challenges, SWK's team is able to develop and deliver effective solutions just right for you and your clients. In fact, as you can see on this screen, our company's mission statement is to empower our clients and partners with knowledge, solutions, and tools for success. SWK's new time and billing helps organizations in every industry streamline time tracking and billing. It's a flexible and scalable solution, maximizing user adoption for companies of all sizes. By providing an intuitive interface, SWK has maximized user adoption. I'm not exaggerating. You'll see during the presentation, but just to give you a sneak peek, upon its official release, the new time and billing can be integrated with Sage 100 version 4.2 and above. The system will allow integration with accounts receivable, time and billing professional, timekeeper, and Sage CRM. The integration with Sage CRM initially will be one-directional, but we're going to be focused on creating the bi-directional functionality on a future release. Users will be permitted to run on a parallel instance. SWK, of course, will provide a migration and synchronization utility for this parallel instance. Time is money. We want to make it easy for employees not to have to waste it anymore. What better way than to give employees access to time and expense entry anytime, anywhere, without taking up your Sage user licenses? You heard me correctly. We will not take up your Sage user licenses. Clients will be able to use web-based time entry for their employee time tracking and project billing needs. Employees will be able to access SWK's new time and billing through a WIN client. Tracking your billable time should not get in the way of course, your billable time. Gone are the days of spreadsheets, sticky notes, pads of paper, time and billing, timekeeper. Once you enter and record your time, it's organized and ready for invoicing. Streamline time entry relative to tasks, CRM cases, support tickets, from engagements, or from the client. The new time and billing does more than just track time. It also includes exceptional project management features to help you run your business. Using the new time and billing to record and organize your billable and non-billable time provides you with a valuable database to monitor your business productivity, giving you priceless knowledge in helping your business succeed. For example, the project management task function will allow you to build your project by setting up tasks required to complete the project. You'll be able to key in time based on each task and schedule these tasks by utilizing the scheduling feature. An audit trail will be available throughout the system, allowing you to keep track of any changes made and by whom. With built-in business intelligence, yes, it's built in, you will be able to analyze your data in multiple dimensions, implement charting reports, etc. Monitor and manage your multiple projects by tracking the vital signs of the business. Paperless Office will inherit from your existing core ERP product. Invoices flowing through accounts receivable will have a paperless office functionality already preset. Now the beauty of spell check. Yes, this will be available throughout the system at all text entry screens. I enjoy saying that because I don't know about you, but my spelling is the worst. Ad hoc reporting. With the new time and billing, you can give a detailed account to your clients in a matter of seconds. You can track hours, project income, invoice balances, and see your progress with contractors, users, clients, taxable items, expenses, etc., etc. All reports feature powerful filters and options for each report. Stored filter combinations to run commonly accessed reports. Easy exporting to Excel and many other areas. I will show you that during the presentation. There's an in-place report feature which will allow you to open reports directly from a detail screen without having to flex with the parameters. This is more like a direct zoom into the report. Most users have to manually key in the parameters in Crystal, for those of you that are familiar with Crystal, and this feature basically delivers with a single click. So again, after the initial release, we're planning to make this new time and billing ERP agnostic. Yes, you heard correctly. It will work with QuickBooks, with any other ERP system that's out there. And don't take my word for it. You'll be able to see this shortly. Now, who can benefit from SWK's new time and billing? If you're a legal representative, a CPA, a consultant, or basically any business that bills customers for time-based projects, you would know how crucial it is to accurately track employee time. So you would definitely be able to benefit from this new time and billing. Inaccurate timekeeping can lead to costly regulatory compliance missteps, among other pitfalls. So basically, any company that bills clients for time-based projects or services and wants to increase information accuracy and reliability can benefit from this new time and billing solution. During today's presentation, we will outline the top benefits of our new time and billing enhancements and the positive effects it can cause or it can have in any organization. So let's drill a little bit down into the pain points. Entering time against billable projects and invoicing customers might sound easy, but when you experience this firsthand, you quickly realize just how challenging it is. Who at some point hasn't been faced with the difficult problems of diverse billing rates, for example, various billing methods, the need to create reports, the constant time-consuming double entry with inaccurate timesheets, and on top of all this, you're unable to keep track of remote employees. Not to mention, you couldn't even dream of having instant visibility into time on projects. After its initial release, as I mentioned before, time and billing, or the new time and billing, will be ERP agnostic. We're basically going to be targeting integration with any ERP that has a market. So selecting the right time and billing program can save companies time and money and can also help produce accurate invoices every time. Our new time and billing will not only solve all of the issues that I just mentioned above, but it will also increase the accuracy and reliability of billing invoices. So now let's see on the screen, you have the antiquated time and billing solutions. Starting from the very top left, I am presenting the old, very old time and billing entry screen. This time and billing, which is the standard time and billing, was originally written by Sage Software in a DOS version, later taken over by a developer who wrote the Windows version of it, and that's it, end of story. No new features, nothing. You're basically working on the same system that was written about 15 to 20 years ago. The time and billing professional, a little bit more helpful. The screen changes. This is the top right screen. It basically allowed you to integrate with Sage's accounts receivable module, and it gave you a 20-digit engagement code. That's it. It was upgraded to Windows. It has never been written into the new business framework. No paperless office functionality out of the box. You have to use the paperless office to accounts receivable. So again, folks are still struggling to try to get the information they need into the system and therefore invoice and obtain the information once they need the report afterwards. The timekeeper helps a little bit more. It integrates with time and billing professional. It allows you to bill for materials, so it also integrates to job costs, as well as accounts receivable and payroll. So the timekeeper screens are the two bottom screens. The left lower is the Sage timekeeper screen or the remote screen, and the right lower is the web entry screen that was written in Java. Many people know that customizations are sometimes necessary, and in timekeeper's case, the customization would have to be written twice if it had to do with the entry screen. You'd have to write it within the Sage entry screen and then again in the web entry screen, which would, of course, having to write it twice would be double the money you'd have to pay. What we did is we took everything that you're accustomed to, everything that was already available to you in the old time and billing, the time and billing professional, and the timekeeper, and we bundled it into one. In addition to that, we took all of your suggestions, everything, all of the features that everyone has been looking for throughout the years, and we included it in one system. So if you own any of the old time solutions, please note, SWK will be offering special pricing for those who are current with their maintenance. We will also offer 1 hour of free training for those who attend the next new time and billing webinar, which will be scheduled for April. But I'm going to go ahead and give you additional details at the end of the presentation. Okay, so now before we begin the presentation, I just want to put in a quick note. I know that everyone's surfing the web right now and updating Facebook. So I made a bet with our director of marketing that I would actually get a minimum of 50 likes on our Facebook. So if you go to SWK Technologies, please like us. Go ahead and do that now before we begin the presentation. and stop surfing the web because you're going to miss the best part of the presentation. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Robert's account. And by the way, Robert is one of our developers of the new Time and Billing. He's also joining us for today's presentation. I'm going to go ahead and switch the screen over to Robert so we can begin our presentation. So what you see on the screen right now is a login for your employees. Robert basically has it set up as an icon on your desktop. You can just click on that icon and you will be prompted to log in. We're going to begin the presentation by logging in as an administrator. I have full access to everything that's available within the new Time and Billing. I'd like to begin by mentioning to you that the new Time and Billing, or we're planning to release the new Time and Billing within the next 9 months, which is basically before the end of this year. It will be ERP agnostic. I have to keep repeating that because it's very new to the Sage world. And if integrated with Sage, however, it will also work in the cloud. The new Time and Billing requires SQL. It will run on SQL Express, which is free and available for download. So if you have questions regarding that, please contact your Sage reseller or feel free to contact anyone at SWK. We will be able to help you. As I mentioned during the PowerPoint, you will be able to migrate data from Time and Billing Professional, Timekeeper. The migration utility we will provide you with will bring over accounts receivable customers as clients, Time and Billing Timekeeper and Time and Billing Professional employees, engagements, projects, jobs, work codes, time and expense history, work in process, employee billing rates, and custom rates. So you're not going to have to worry about bringing all of that information over. The new Time and Billing, similar to what most people are accustomed to in the antiquated time solutions, will also allow you to change the terminology throughout the system. To change the terminology, it's very simple. You basically just go to Tools. Robert, if you want to go ahead and go to Tools to show where we would change the terminology. Tools, you'll be presented with a new screen. You'll go to the Edit Model, go to Navigation, and change the terminology. In this particular case, we're changing the employee to be named as a consultant. We can change the engagement to be called anything you want, project. And once you save the changes, it's a universal change. This will show throughout the system exactly how you decided to set it up.
One correction, Patty. When you logged into the configurator user, all of the changes that you make through the configurator user will cascade to everything else. You can make changes just as a specific user that only applies to you.
One of the advantages, and thank you, Robert, one of the advantages of the new Time and Billing is that precisely you can make changes down to the field level by employee, by engagement, by project. It doesn't have to be a universal change. A lot of the time I've been asked if you're able to assign specific engagements to employees and limit other employees from accessing these engagements. The answer is yes, and we'll go through it as we go through the presentation. So again, what you see on the screen is the navigation menu. Because I am the administrator, I have access not only to the different areas within this main screen, but I also have access to different folders, as you can see them below. I have the main folder, approval, billing, reimbursements. And I'd like to begin a little bit by talking about the configuration folder first. Now, the reason I'm jumping straight into the configuration folder is the fact that I'd like to just briefly go through the different security options and how easy it is to set up a security feature within a role, a user, and settings. So what you see right now is the security role, and I chose a basic user. The basic user, if you notice the top of the screen, is an administrator. You decide if you want to allow can edit model, can approve, and can bill. From that, if you go to the permissions tab, notice all of the flexibility you have within that tab now to limit or grant access to this specific user. Now, once you set up this user and you check off exactly what you'd like to give them access to, it can be read, write, create, delete, or navigate. You do not have to reset a basic user every time. If you know you're going to have 20 employees that are going to have the same access, you can go ahead and create child roles, parent roles, so that you really don't have to go and check every single area once again. So once again in the permissions, I just want to point out the fact that we have several areas that are not checked off at all, and this will make a difference when we log in as a basic user. Now let's go back to the navigation screen. Oh, before we go back to the navigation screen, it would be good to show a little bit about the home screen. When you go to the home screen, which is the navigation screen, you're also limited access to specific areas. Let me show that again. So you can say hide my cases, my schedule, time history, tasks, engagement. You decide if you want your employees not to have access to the different areas once they go to their home screen. Time detail, you can hide the rate and make the rate read only if you decide to. This was a specific suggestion from one of our users. By the way, SWK has been beta testing internally for the last, I want to say 4 months, 6 months, is it, Robert?
Yep.
Okay, so you have the cases checked off, and we have the options that we need checked off. Let's go back now to the navigation screen.
Do you want to get into member permissions and object
permissions?
permissions?
Yes, please, go right ahead.
Okay. Essentially, we got a very basic level security rate set up right now. What we can do is we can go to the specific member level. This means a field or a property of the object, and explicitly say whether or not a user has read-write access to it. With object permissions, we also have the ability to deny read-write access to a whole row based on a criteria. Now that's it in a nutshell. I could get into more detail, but time permitting, I'm going to let Patty continue.
And there is a lot to learn, so we're kind of running through the setup so that we can show you how the time entry will take place all the way through to invoicing and into Sage 100. So now that we're back in the navigation menu, and we talked a little bit about the security roles, I briefly want to show you how to set up an engagement, because I know it's important to set up the security, but once you also set up an engagement, you want a certain level of detail. In this case, notice the terminology is now called a project. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into an engagement and show you the flexibility that you have while setting this up. So you can specify which client an engagement is particularly for, include a full description. You can set up a default rate for any particular engagement. Choose your engagement code, type, and default work code. And I want you to notice with the engagement code that we bypass the 20-digit limitation. You can have alphanumeric codes as well. And notice how the type description is also available by using a drop-down if you already have one there. We have fixed, milestones, not to exceed, retainer, standard. You decide which type of engagement you'd like to assign to this particular engagement. The default work code, notice how we're using the drop-down. If there are any in existence, you'll be able to choose from there or create a new one. So we're going to go ahead and choose one now. If you have any budgeted hours or amounts, you can also preset them here. And I apologize for the delay here, but we're both, one's talking and one's driving, so it's kind of difficult. The total amount billed, you decide if you want to set that up or not, or it'll show you right within the screen.
Patty, this feature shows you what is currently billed on this engagement. So it just gives you a heads-up number of that.
What's
so
already billed.
The numbers side by side. Yes.
And the backlog adjust?
And the backlog is a calculation of how much time you have left in the budget. You also have an adjustment. Projects go over or under budget. You can actually add up the number of hours so that you get a correct backlog number as to how much time is left on that project.
So I'm sure you noticed on the screen there are other areas that we could be covering, but I'm going to go ahead and hold off. We can show the engagement detail, but I'm going to hold off on the other tabs so that we can show them to you once we're in the employee and actually entering time. We're going to run into the same entry screen. I just want to show it to you from a different perspective. So before we start entering time, what I'd like to do is log out as an administrator and now log back in as our basic user. And this is to show you the limitations that were preset for this basic user. One of the things that I'd like to mention as we're logging in, during the PowerPoint presentation, I mentioned that we can also have access through the Win client. We're going to jump back and forth to it after we enter some time here.
You mean the web client?
The web client.
So here we have the web client, pretty much the same menu structure that you see here. All of the details that you've seen in the Windows version is all visible here as well.
So we're going to go back to the basic user. Notice how the navigation area is now almost empty. We were only given access to home and only the main folder. There's nothing else. On the right side,
essentially you can just pin that away and just free up some screen real estate, being that that's the only thing that the basic user is able to access.
So one of the biggest requests we also had from several of our clients was to make it easy for employees to enter their time and not have to let them worry about choosing or creating engagements or anything to that nature. So we could limit an employee to specific engagements, specific customers, specific projects. And notice how easy it's going to be for this employee to enter time. They simply click on New Time Entry. You could use the drop-down arrow to choose the engagement or type in the first letter and it'll show you all of the engagements that are set with that letter. And all they had to do was enter the number of units. All of the other information defaulted based on the engagement. Now, I preset it to default, but it's something entirely optional. You can set it up so that they could enter each different field on their own. Go ahead and enter another engagement.
I just want to emphasize what's going on here. We have the ability to assign multiple employees to an engagement, and if you skip entering the client and go directly to engagement, it's only going to enumerate the engagement that are currently active for that employee. So this is going to really simplify not having to search through the whole system to get to where they need to go. So let me select another engagement there.
And once again, notice how the information defaults once he chooses the engagement. If this employee was given permission to do so, the tabs describing where the client, engagement, and work code are can be moved. So, for example, if I really don't care about looking at the client first, I usually prefer to choose the engagement first. Notice how flexible my screen can be readjusted. And the system will keep it that way for me every time I log in. But again, it's entirely up to the administrator to give you permission to do this or not. If we go to My Time History, just to briefly show what's available there, and the reason I'm going into the next tab is because this is the area where it would be nice to show you how you can easily export information into the different types of areas that we're offering. So notice how we have CSV file, HTML, we have Excel, and really all you have to do is right-click and choose where exactly you'd like to export to. Is there anything you'd like to point out in time history, Robert?
No. Here I have I just wanted to demonstrate the export feature, so I'm just going to save this to my desktop.
And notice how I didn't really have to adjust anything. All I did was right-click, export, and now I have all of the information that I needed in my Excel sheet. And once in Excel, you can manipulate the data at your heart's content.
And this is a global feature across the system, so anywhere you see a grid, you're going to have that function there. Well, not only there, but you're going to have it in your pivot tables as well.
So perfect. Notice how the next tab is My Time Pivot. And the simplicity here in creating your reports, he's going to take one of those tabs and move it down, and that information will now be populated. Notice how easy that is. And he could remove the tabs as well. So include as much information as you need or get rid of information you don't need. If you right-click, you can also add additional fields that you might need information about. And this is throughout the system. The tabs that you want in your screen, on your screen, once you right-click, you can add or take away tabs that you may not need.
So as you can see, you're able to build reports very quickly and easily based off of data that's put in these grids.
So we went through the different tabs that a basic user is allowed access to. Is there anything else that you wanted to cover here, Robert, before we jump back in as admin?
No.
Okay, then we're going to log out and we're going to log in now. I don't know if you have the manager or the admin, whatever you prefer.
We'll go in as admin.
Okay, so as you noticed, as the basic user, we had very limited information available to us. We were able to enter time. We were able to see information about time that we entered, so our history, and we are able to create reports based on our history. Logging in, again, as administrator, let's just pretend that we're the manager now. Notice how the tabs on the right side of the screen, in your home screen, you have additional tabs. You have now the approval, the billing, my schedule, my tasks, on top of what the basic user had. So I wanted to briefly talk about my tasks. So the My Tasks tab will allow, depending on the security, any employee to create tasks for other employees. That way, say for example, the manager has 20 people to supervise and he just wants to get them organized. Here are your tasks. Worry about nothing else. I'm going to set them up for you and you're ready to go. Once the employee logs in, they'll have the My Tasks tab up and they'll be able to see what their manager is expecting them to complete for that day, that month, whatever the case may be. If you click on the task at hand right now, if you double click on it, you'll be able to see the details as far as what exactly is going on with that particular task. And notice how for each task you have detail, time detail, and schedule events. You'll be able to see the engagement, the employee, all sorts of details that are pertinent to that particular task.
And this double click is common throughout the system where you have a grid. So anywhere you double click, it's going to zoom into a detail form where it's going to show you more information. You may want to get more information in one of these headers, and all you need to do is right click and hit the column chooser. So I may want to get the date created and I believe we got a start date in there. So, and a date completion. So we may want to get those date information into those grids. So it's very easy to add additional columns into these grids based on your user case.
Thanks, Robert. So then, after showing my tasks, we also mentioned that there is there will be a CRM integration available with this initial release. And because of that CRM integration, we also have the availability of cases coming from CRM. You're able to, if you want to go to the tab there, you're able to view existing cases, log in new cases, and all of this information will flow back to the CRM. Another thing, if anything else about CRM that you want to share, Robert?
Okay. CRM currently is one-directional at this point. We will be targeting to get a bi-directional connection where this will write directly back to the CRM system.
Let's look at My Schedule as well. The other integration that will also be available to you is the integration with Outlook. So Robert has Present Time and Billing today at 1 o'clock Central, and he has it set up within Outlook. Well, this information is also going to flow into your time detail and your time entry. So if you want to click on that.
It's currently not functional.
Okay. Don't forget, we're still in a beta mode, so we'll be able to show you probably on our next webinar exactly how the flow through is from Outlook and back into the new time and billing. Being that we're logged in as an administrator, we also have access to approvals and billing. So let's go to the approvals tab. Now remember, our employee had entered a couple of time entries a little while ago. You'll be able to access any employees that were assigned to you. And for example, if you click on the employee tab, it'll organize the employees in that particular, in ABC order. It'll sort them for you. If you click on the engagement tab, it'll do the same. And I guess this is a better area to be able to show you. And this is throughout the system. When you click on the tabs, it will sort by the tab that you're clicking on. So notice, go ahead and click on a tab just to prove a point, Robert. We also have
you're essentially
filters
looking
available.
for this where you want to see all employees that are working under Nancy Cook.
Exactly, and that way Nancy Cook doesn't have to worry about anyone else. Nancy knows exactly which employee she wants to look into. And now let's go back to the approval screen and go ahead and approve some of that time, or approve it all.
So you can imagine that this list gets longer and longer. You've got multiple days, multiple employees. You can go ahead and select all records and then hit this approve button. Now it's going to call for an approval entry screen. You just need to select the active one and hit OK. And now that time is approved. If I hit refresh, it's gone. It's now in billing. So these transactions are now in WIP. If you're posting WIP to General Ledger, there's a process that you go through in the approval entry to post those journal entries.
Now, even though Robert is jumping back and forth to the folders on the left side, you don't necessarily have to do that. If you have the tabs on your home screen of everything that you're going to be utilizing on a daily basis, that's basically all you need. You really don't have to jump back and forth anywhere. You'll have everything instantly available to you on your home screen. So let's go ahead and bill for the 2 items that we've already approved.
Okay, the billing process is actually even simpler. I mean, I can obviously make some changes to this if I want to down the rate or anything like that. It is mutable at this point. I could change descriptions should I need to, and it's fully editable at this point in time. Same concept. You select everything that you want to bill, and you hit the bill button. So this process doesn't bring up a dialog box, but it's now in a billing entry. Now, essentially, you don't have to post this right away. It can actually sit there if you have a process of billing on a weekly basis. You can go through this billing process and decide what you're going to bill on a daily basis, and it's just simply going to add those transactions to the existing records when the time comes. Now, when you want to send this up to mass, you select the invoices that you're ready to push up, and you say create invoices in Sage 100, or Sage 100, I'm sorry. And as you can see, it's processing through, and as they process through, they disappear. We open we could open Sage directly from here, and when we go into invoice, we see there. So I got a problem with this one particular entry. I'll look into that, but
that's okay, Robert. We're still in beta. Everyone out there understands that. The point is, if we are integrated with Sage 100, the information that we approve and bill through our new time and billing will flow through all the way into your accounts receivable module, and you will now have those invoices available to you in your ERP system. At the same time, Robert has made it so that we can also continue to view these invoices or open invoices within our new time and billing.
So I just simply uncheck the filters here, and I could see everything that was previously posted. And what we are looking to do is being able to reverse this invoice and get it back to the state of being unposted as an invoice, where you can make changes and then repost that entry as an adjustment.
And that's another request that we've received from users of the time and billing and timekeeper enhancement. So Robert, now that we've showed the process all the way through to billing, are there any reports that you're able to show them? Now I know I'm putting you on the spot because we didn't look at the reports, but it would be nice to just show a quick report. If it's not available today, it'll just have to wait until the next webinar.
No, we do have some stuff that's going to really emphasize the power, which is the business intelligence tools.
So as he's creating the report.
So virtually, I'm looking at an employee now at this point. Virtually, I can derive any possible report that I would need to show employee information directly here. I can say, okay, well, how much has this person billed per year, and just drag that down into columns. I can see, okay, well, what particular work codes is he plugging time against? So I could flip things around and see things from multiple perspectives. So if I wanted to drill it down even further by month, I have that. All of this is exportable to Excel, and it's directly printable through the print preview screen as well. So this, hands down, has been a very strong feature of the system, because you're able to very quickly get to and look at your information from various different dimensions at any given time.
And notice the flexibility to add data and include additional information that you might need in regards to each and every separate report.
So what we also have,
go ahead. Before you start, Robert, I just want to point out that if anyone has any questions, Adrian, we have about 14 minutes left, and I want to make sure that we address questions.
We have several questions. Just let me know when you guys are comfortable answering.
Go ahead,
questions.
Adrian. Yes, please go ahead and send them our way.
Okay, perfect. How many time and billing customers are there? Thank you, Free.
I don't have an exact number, being that there are, believe it or not, time and billing clients that are still running the old DOS version. But I'll be happy to share that number with you within about a month, where we're going to start targeting these people to let them know there's a new time and billing.
And then what is the sales process? If a partner has a prospect, do you help with the sales and the demos?
Yes, we do, absolutely. I'm going to continue to provide webinars from now through the end of the year, but I also offer to do one-on-one presentations, and typically what I like to do is have a discovery call, the partner and I with the prospect, and based on the information we obtain during the discovery call, we then tailor the presentation to be specific to that client's particular requirements. I'm going to go ahead and provide you with my contact information at the end of the presentation. And we're also going to have a recording of this webinar available for everyone that we're definitely going to share with you. So feel free to reach out to me at any time, and I'll be happy to work with you and your prospects.
And we have another question. Waleed, thank you so much for your question. I am confused to why on the permission grid you are listing the data tables instead of programs and functions. So if I denied permission to AR customer to a user, does that mean this user will not have access to any customer information throughout the system?
Robert, I'll let you take that one.
Okay, if I understand the question correctly, if you don't show the read access property on the business object itself, it will not allow you to see the customer information. So virtually you do want to grant most users the access to see that information. You do have the ability to get down into the member level and specify specifically which features are, or which properties and fields are accessible, whether they're whether the user can read them or write to those fields. The security is quite robust. In terms of action items, there are conditional constraints that can be set up in the business or the model editor that will hide and disable certain functions as well. I hope that answers.
And we could go into further detail, Waleed, if it didn't answer your question. If you'd like, we can give you a call and address that in further detail.
And he does have an additional add to that question. Would it not be easier to list programs and permissions instead of data tables?
Yeah, I think it'd be best if we take that question with you as soon as we complete the presentation, because I know there's a lot of detail involved. Can we go to the next question, please?
Sure.
They're not actually data tables. They're business objects. It works very much like the business objects interface within MAS, where you're taking control over that business object itself. So you're essentially granting permissions to specific properties and methods within the members area of that. So it may seem like it's a data table, but it's not really a data table. They're business objects.
Thanks, Robert.
Can we add text to time entry to specify what was done? Thank you, Amron.
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Can we add text to time entry to specify what was done?
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
So if somebody's entering their time, can you elaborate on what the time was about? Is there an area to add, free text to that note, like a note to the time entry? That's what I'm...
Yeah,
yes. You have the description that's along with the time entry. You also have the ability to add in user-defined fields, and if you wanted to have a note within there that's not going to cascade into the description of the bill, we can most certainly configure that to happen.
And then next question, thank you, Sharon. How would the lookup for the engagements appear if your user was not limited to certain engagements in time and expense entry?
Let me show you how that works. So essentially, let me get my...
The admin is not limited to view any particular engagement, so you'll see exactly how someone with full access would be able to see.
Okay. Well, the way it works is if, regardless of admin or whatever, this list, my engagements, is all of the engagements that are applicable to that employee. If you skip client and you go directly to engagement, it shows only those engagements. But she's asking, well, I want to add time to an engagement that's not in this list. Essentially what you do is you select the client first, and then the default behavior of that engagement does not pop up, and now I'm able to select engagements that are relative to that client. So it's just a feature to streamline the process. You still have the ability to key in time directly to any engagement.
Any other questions, Adrian, before we go to our final slide?
Yes, there's several. So we can announce them now, or if you want to go to, oh, actually there are some where you're showing the product, so I'll read these off. My open time detail when entering time, where does user put in free-form text? My open time detail when entering time, is the date changeable? Thank you, Doug.
So you're asking, can I put in additional text into the description?
That's how I would interpret that. So kind of the same.
And you can decide if you want to print all of this text on the invoice or not.
Yes. So you're able to do that, and then all of the defaults that come in are overridable. So if this time was for yesterday, I can set it to yesterday.
And then we have another question from Avron. Thank you. Will task created in Time and Billing be a task in CRM?
That's a really good question.
Are you referring to engagements?
No, he's talking about, you know how we have the list of tasks here? Will they also be a task in CRM? Because that's how we have, in CRM, there's an area that's called new task.
We can make that happen. We can write a routine that syncs CRM tasks into this. So the answer is yes, it is possible. I don't have an example for you right now, but
oh, that's okay. So Avron, out of the box, it's not written yet, but the answer is yes, it can definitely be done. Adrian, how do I switch back to my screen, because I think we're almost done and I have 2 more slides to show.
Okay, perfect. I'm gonna make you presenter.
Thank you.
There you go. And then do you want me to continue to read off the questions as before your next slides, or do you want to do your slides and then we'll read off the questions? We have several more.
I'm worried that we're not going to make it with the rest of the questions unless people want to hang around for an extra couple of minutes, but I want to be respectful of everyone's time.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that we address those questions. If you wouldn't mind emailing them to myself and Robert, and we'll be able to get back to everyone individually.
Perfect. All the questions will be assigned with each contact on the registration report, so you'll know who's asking what, so you can get back to them.
We will definitely get back to you no later than to the end of day today with the answer to everybody's questions. We will also provide you with a recording of the presentation. Our contact information will appear at the end. I just wanted to point out the additional enhancements that SWK has to offer. I want you to mark your calendars for our next New Time and Billing webinar, which is going to be completely different than what you saw today. Today was very preliminary, security settings, time entry. For next webinar, we're going to be focusing on different aspects of time and billing, and we're also going to be focusing on a lot of the questions that you provided us today. So please take note, mark your calendars, April 23 at 1 p.m. Central Time. I do want to point out the fact that, and I always want to make sure that everyone is aware of the fact that we offer MAPADOC, which is the EDI solution for Sage 100, Sage 500, and Sage ERP X3. Please keep that in mind, and if you ever do need any information regarding our EDI product, feel free to contact us. And then I want to thank everyone once again for joining us today. We're very excited about this product, very excited to hear your feedback. We want to make sure everyone is aware of all of the new features that are coming out in this enhancement prior to its initial release. So please join us again in April. I promise you'll be pleasantly surprised, swept off your feet again with all of the new features that we're going to be presenting for this new time and billing. Keep the suggestions coming. Let me know if you need any one-on-one presentations. We'll be happy to help. And please note the contact information is available on the screen. Thanks again, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and I look forward to speaking with every single one of you. Really appreciate you being there, and I look forward to seeing you at Summit.
Thank you, Patty. Great presentation, Patty and Robert. We really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.